Look at the ever popular capacity or capacity, as the word would be. What is capacity? When we talk about capacity, it would be, Savannah, capacity is what? How much something holds. Okay? Because if I asked you to give me 12 feet of water, how would you do that? Manuel, how would I get 12 feet of water? Can you give me an inch of water? No, you can't, because those things fill up things. An inch is a unit, a line measurement of, a distance measure. Okay, we're looking at capacity. Generally, we think about it as being liquid, but it could be a fine powder, it could be grain, things that when you pour it into something, it'll take their shape. You know, concrete, whatever it is, those sort of things. And we have, unfortunately, again, two systems, our United States silly way, US customary one. It just makes no sense. And we've got the metric system, which is obviously a smart people way to do it. Okay? You know the customary ones because they're ones that we always use. These are the ones, you know, that, no, I don't have Mr. Gallon here anymore, do we? I suppose we should draw this. Here, let's do it. Just because you got it. Do you have draw a relatively big box here. Okay. If this thing stands for a gallon, obviously a gallon, you know it's a gallon jug or whatever. Okay. Inside a gallon, you have how many quarts? Anybody?
4.
Exactly. A gallon contains 4 quarts. That's what each one of these little blue guys is going to be. These are cutes. QT on the QT. And then underneath the QTs, we break quarts into, next smallest unit of measurement is, yes, the good old-fashioned pint. How many pints are in a quart? 2. See, and again, wouldn't it have made more sense if you're going to divide a gallon into 4 quarts, why not make a quart into 4 pints? Why not use 4s all the way around? Why are we switching from 4 down to 2? Makes no sense. And the nice thing about doing this little chart here is that right off the bat, you can pretty much easily tell how many pints are in a gallon. Because I've drawn them all out here for you. How many pints are there? Yeah, there's 8 pints in a gallon. And then we're just going to break that down a little bit more into what pints break down into, and that is a cup. There's 2 cups in every pint. Oh, a good color here. How about a beautiful shade of pink? Okay, so you end up with 2 cups in each pint, which means you're going to end up with how many pints, or how many cups in a gallon? 16. But if I asked you how many pints are in a half of a gallon, could you use this to tell me how many pints are in a half of a gallon? How many pints in a half a gallon? 4, because you just look at half of it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, and 1. How many cups are in a half a gallon? 8. How many? I don't know. How many cups are in a half a quart?
2.
Here's a quart, cut it in half. How many cups? 2. So you kind of get the gist of all that. So there's your. You probably need to write those down, I suppose. You need to make sure that you know 1 gallon equals 4 quarts. 1 quart equals 2 pints. 1 pint equals 2 cups. And from there, it also gets smaller. What's our next size smaller than a cup? Does anybody know? Yeah, how many ounces are in a cup?
8.
So let's make sure we write that down. There are 1 cup equals 8 ounces. And unfortunately, our minds are a little bit warped in what we think a cup is, because if you ask your mom for a cup of water, she's gonna pull out this big old mug thing, because we supersize everything. A cup of water, actually this is it. How many of you, your parents, if you ask for a glass of water, give you something as small as that? That really is, this is really an actual 8-ounce cup. And that bottle over here is actually an 8-ounce, a 16-ounce bottle. So this is a half a quart, is that right? This is a pint, correct? 16 ounces would be 8-ounce cup, 2 cups is a pint. Actually, this is bigger than that because it's 1 pint, 0.9 fluid ounces. Because it's in the metric system. Why is it in the metric system? Because apparently the Glacier Mist people are smart. In the metric system, oh, how many ounces would there be then in a gallon? If every one of these cups has 8 ounces in it, how many cups are there? 16. So you have to multiply 16 by 8. There's 128 ounces in a gallon. How many ounces are in one of those super gigantic big gulps or whatever you get from the gas station? Like 44 or 64 or whatever they are. They're like a half a gallon of stuff. Jacob?
Why did they make a cup so small?
Well, see, back then, Jacob, if you had to carry the water that you used in your house from the stream that was 2 miles down the road, and you asked for a cup of water, they probably would only give you this much, because really, you probably don't really need that much water as much as we drink. I mean, they probably just said, this, we've grown up. Back when I was your age, probably when you went to McDonald's, you only got maybe a 10-ounce cup of pop. If you asked for a pop or something like that, it was nowhere near the, now we have the smallest small they have is bigger than the biggest big you could have got back then. So I think they probably knew that they didn't need that much or didn't use that much. We've kind of lately just grown into all this, getting all this extra stuff there. So that would be my guess. I can't say for sure. Now in the metric system, children, it's very, very easy because it is just simply liters and milliliters. Although I don't even know if they give you, liters and milliliters. It's right here. Here's the whole metric system. 1 liter equals 1,000 milliliters. And that's all you have. Okay? Everything you do in the metric system is based upon that. Okay? This thing right here, though, on the bottle, it says this is 0.5 liters. Well, if I asked you how many milliliters, what would be? 0.5 liters would be, it's a half a liter, which is a half, which is 500 milliliters. A milliliter is relatively small. A milliliter is actually the same as the amount of liquid it would take to fill a cubic centimeter. If this was an open container, this would be 1 milliliter. So hence, if you filled up we should try this. I could be way wrong on this. And I could be. In other words, this is 1,000 of these. This should be a liter. Now the question is, do you believe that 2 whole of these water things, it would take 2 of them to fill this up?
No.
You think this is bigger than that or smaller than that?
Smaller.
Well, you got to watch the optical illusions that your eye play with. It's very difficult for us to figure this out, but we're going to try it because everything I believe about math could be disproved right now. So you think that this will overflow this?
No. It's too It's too big.
What, the water, this jug is too big?
Yeah. No. Wait. No. It's like it's gonna be perfect. It's gonna be perfect. It's gonna be perfect.
No, it's not. It's gonna fill.
It's gonna spill. No, it's not. It's not gonna fill.
Oh, no, yeah.
No, it's not gonna overflow. But
It's gonna be perfect.
perfect.
Tell me how it works out. I can't see.
Good job.
I said it. Me and Michael said it.
I said it.
Which, children, just to give you a little heads up and we'll tie all this together here, when you buy your brand new car, you buy the engine size in it. Okay, usually people say how many cylinders it has, but cylinders are based on volume, because what happens in a car engine is there's a little round thing with these little pistons that shoot up and down. If you get a car that's maybe a 4-cylinder car, quite often they're in 2.4 liter engines. That means the real part of your engine, the motor that pulls your car, is actually only twice as big as this. Well, it's almost 2.5 times as big as this. It's just, that's where the explosions come in the car. These little cylinders that go up and down, they're not very big, but they make very, very strong explosions. So if somebody says I have a 5-liter engine, which you do if they get the 8-cylinder cars, that's like having 5 of those bad boys. It has cylinders though, but there are 8 of them. Grace!
Why are labeled with lowercase n?
I don't know, but that's just the way it is. I don't know.
Mini.
I don't have any idea about that at all. 1 cubic centimeter is the same as 1 milliliter. It all ties in nicely. DJ. DJ.
I don't know if you just said this, but how big is 1 milliliter?
Milliliter?
Yeah. Oh.
It's still liquid that would fill a cubic centimeter. Hence the reason why I had 1,000. You can put 1,000. This was 1,000 of these cubes that was inside this thing. That's why it took a milliliter, a liter to fill that in.
Is it right? Like,
What?
is it like so close there?
Yeah, look like a little. I don't know how far they fill the jar up. Who knows if they're accurate. Evan?
So like 1 liter, would that be like 0.1 liter? Would that be 100
Point.
milliliters?
It would be. And that Evan kind of hit on the thing there. Something for you to see. Evan just asked this question. 0.1 liter is 100 milliliters. 0.2 liters is 200 milliliters. 0.8 liters is 800, because that's 8/10 of a milliliter. 8/10 of 1,000 is 800. Wow, so far we've got question after question. Yes, Alyssa.
What's more than a milliliter?
What is more than a milliliter? 2
Smaller.
milliliters. Huh?
Smaller.
I don't know, half a milliliter? 0.5 milliliters?
Well, that's not a milliliter.
Yeah, they don't get any smaller. There's no label that's smaller than that. You can have the decimeter. Just like with in measuring, the smallest thing you get is a millimeter. The smallest thing, I mean, for a yard thing, for capacity, the smallest thing is a milli, which means 1,000th of a liter. This means 1,000th of a meter. 1,000th of a liter. You get a little confusing after all that. Jacob?
Oh, is there anything bigger than a liter?
2 liters.
That's not. Is it 2 liters?